Well, we do have a great guest speaker, but before I get started on that, I'd like one of our members to come forward, Gail Pressler. Come on down. Gail, I've got for you a mayor's coin, because you're highly deserving. You know, I don't give this to just, former city managers and former aldermen that are sitting over there. I give them to great citizens who do great things. Now, we all know Gail has been a fabulous Kiwanis member, but she also has worked very hard for various projects with her church and with the book sales. Well, you know about that and all that. I've just got one question, Gail. What in the heck were you doing with that truckload of food the other day? I know Milton can't eat all that.
It's reused boxes.
Yeah.
And they were full of books.
Were they really?
They really were.
Okay, I began to wonder about Milton,
No.
but hey, thank you for just
Thank
everything
you.
you do for the community.
Thank you
You're
so
truly a
much.
treasure. Okay, well, Coach Ryan Wagner, he's one of our favorite guests, and I'm really looking forward to his talk. He's a 1994 grad of Dobyns Bennett. I told him, I was off in the Army during all this time that he played at DB, but he lettered in all three sports: basketball, football. He was the starting quarterback for 2 years, all-state in baseball, and his team as a player was a state runner-up finisher in the state tournament. He participated in 5 state tournaments total, 2 in basketball, 3 in baseball. He had a great college career, first at Walters State, then at East Tennessee State University. He's been a special needs teacher. He's also teaching wellness now. He also finds time to coach the 9th grade football team. He's been the head baseball coach at DB since 2011, participated in the state tournament as a coach in 2013, 2014, 2017, and finished 3rd in the state in 2017. Has a wonderful wife, Beth. Blessed to have 2 kids, Sam and Annalie, and he tells me they're very interested in sports too. So they got a great coach, and I'm just thrilled that Ryan could come back and talk to us. Ryan, come on down. I thought Wayne's prayer was just absolutely on target because this man is a great mentor.
Thanks for having me here, to everyone, and all the kind words, the prayer, Wayne and Darryl, the kind words. My parents were educators here in Kingsport. Mom, a former kindergarten teacher. My dad, a former social studies and wellness teacher at Robinson. He coached football at Dobyns Bennett and everything in middle school. So my brother's a kindergarten teacher now, who my kids just went through the last couple of years and had him at John Adams. So we are all crazy, I guess. No, but it's rewarding, obviously challenging. But Bob Harshbarger, I think this might be the first one. Are you a member of the Kiwanis, I imagine? It's probably one of my first guy that I've coached that is a member of the Kiwanis. That tells me I'm getting real old.
No, we're just getting younger members.
That's right, younger and younger members. But
You've got your application.
yeah, that'll be fine. Mary Lee Davis, you're the president, right? And thank you for what you do for this club. And she came up, and obviously we've seen each other down here the last several years. She told me she was a 61 graduate, Dobyns Bennett, and Mayor said I was 71. I said there's no way. I said she's probably more like 81 if he's 71. But anyway, we were talking, and I was telling him a little bit about my kids. My son has gotten into. He wasn't one when I was 4 or 5. I was running around with the ball all the time. He wasn't really like that. He was introduced to it, but now he's 8 and loving it. And he's a good kid. Both of them are. And but I think Sam is kind of like I was when I was young. I think we kind of changed teams on who's winning. Last year he was a Michigan State football fan, and they were rolling. This year it's Tennessee, and got a TCU jersey, and Everybody's calling him a bandwagon boy. So anyway, I've got great kids and a good wife, and we live here on Watauga Street in Kingsport. I know many of y'all are from that area too. So Mayor, thanks for having me, inviting me down here. So I was going to tell a little story here, but we better get rolling because there'll be a cutoff line here a little bit. But real quick, I know there's a lot of people here that I know. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I do appreciate all the city leaders and the former city leaders for what you do. I mean, you can look at this year. We'll go back to COVID and what happened with the dome. And I don't coach basketball, but I teach wellness. And if you've been to the basketball games, you've seen, how nice that the former North Tribe Athletic Complex is now. And we couldn't do those things and have the facilities we have without you guys and what you do for us. I love you. So I appreciate every one of you and the former ones too. So as far as our team this year, we lost, I think we lost 8 seniors. 3 of them went on to play college baseball this year. Did not reach our goal the last 3 seasons, but there's good teams in the area that have same goals that we have. And I'll be honest with you, right out here in the middle of the Tri-Cities is school, Daniel Boone High School. And they've gotten way more competitive in sports. In fact, the last 2 years, they've beaten us in an elimination game. We beat them 4 times in a row last year and had to play them for a 5th time and lost 9-8 when it mattered. So it's not easy. You think about the gray area. I mean, sometimes if kids are not pleased or families move, a lot of them can go there in 10 minutes and transfer. So I know they've got 2 kids there right now from Science Hill that played baseball. They're good players. I don't know the situation, but it's competitive around here is what I'm trying to tell you. Crockett's really good in baseball. Westridge, Science Hill always won a state 2 years ago. Daniel Boone. And then we added so many great teams to our schedule, just trying to make ourselves better and get ready for challenging postseason that we have every year. So I know this year we'll be going back to Charleston for the first time since COVID, and we're really looking forward to that. It's just not a bad drive. The weather's good. I've got a lot of contacts down there, so we're going to go down there for spring break and stay about 4 nights. A team named Cincinnati Elder. If you're from that area or have ever lived up there, it's a Catholic school that's right behind. We're the #1 program in the country as far as all-time wins. They're 2nd. And in fact, they may be 3rd now. Them and the team from California were neck and neck, but they're coming back this year to play us. So we got some teams from South Carolina, from Virginia, Ohio. 2 teams from Ohio are coming down to our tournament. But without these facilities that we have, that I can say we got field turf and we got Hunter Wright Stadium that we can use, these teams aren't coming here to play. So we're blessed here in Kingsport. That's kind of what I'm getting at. We have 7 seniors this year. 2 of them have already signed scholarships. One of them's going to King University. The other one just signed Wednesday to go to Carson Newman, Tanner Kilgore. And Turner Stout's the other one that's signed. And we'll have a couple more that are willing, that want to play that they just haven't decided yet. But it's something I thought was pretty neat. I thought I'd share with you with the timing of it. Tanner Kilgore signed with Carson Newman. His dad I played with here at Dobyns Bennett. He played at Carson Newman, where his son's going. Granddad played at Dobyns Bennett for Coach White. It's ours 3 generations that played for 3 different coaches. On his mother's side, Tanner's granddad was previously the athletic director at Carson Newman for about 25 years. If you kept up with any kind of football back in the 90s and early 2000s, Carson Newman was rolling. They went from NAIA to Division II. His granddad got them, that was the transition time. He moved them into Division II. His brother plays golf there at a high level that played at Dobyns Bennett. His uncle played baseball at Carson Newman. So I just thought I'd share the fact that Tanner and his family played at Dobyns Bennett, and then the Carson Newman connection. I thought that was pretty neat just to have all that happen just the other day. But we are looking forward to a good season. We got a lot of competition, the most I've ever seen at Dobyns Bennett while I've been there. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of positions open, which is great. It means we're out there every day seeing kids, understand that they better be working, doing things right in school, making good decisions, which we talk about a lot. And I know that Wayne mentioned that in his prayer there. So we want to be great leaders, our kids. And it's not perfect all the time, but we enforce it. We try to do the best we can. And we're pretty blessed right now. We've got a lot of good kids in our program. The one that signed the other day, Tanner Kilgore, he's right at a 4.0. And I can't tell you how many kids I got that probably have a 4.0 GPA. And so I know I didn't when I was in school. I did okay, but I probably had to work a lot harder at it than they did. But they're good leaders. We got a lot of freshmen right now and sophomores that are really talented. We're excited about. Obviously unproven, but we've seen what they can do over the fall and the course of the winter and leading into the season. That we're excited about what's going to happen this season. I can't tell you what our record's going to be. I don't even like to vote. They'll send me, the media will send me, what's your thoughts on who's going to win the conference 1 through 5? We only got 5 teams now because we have 4 divisions. So some of the schools around here, such as Tennessee High, Elizabeth and Volunteer, Sullivan East, Unicoi, they're 3A. We're 4A. And you got 2A and 1A, so it's kind of, the conferences are smaller. We play each other 3 times instead of 2, which baseball is kind of a game of series anyway, because if you guys are familiar with baseball, you don't want to just have one pitcher that can lead you down the road. You should have to have more than that. So it kind of, what we do is we play a 2-game series at the beginning of the year. So back-to-back days, Monday, Tuesday. Later in the year, we'll play that 3rd game, and we may play Science Hill on a Monday, Westridge on a Tuesday. And then the next week we may play Boone Monday, Crockett Tuesday. So you do have to have plenty of pitching. One of our former pitchers' dad, Ronnie's here. He's here every year. So it's something that you have to have a lot of because we play 30 games in about 8 or 9 weeks. Basketball starts at Thanksgiving or before, and they roll for 4.5 months, and we crunch 30 plus games into about 8.5, 9 weeks before the district tournament. So it's a challenge. We're still trying to figure out some things, but we're excited about the season. So I know you guys and gals like to ask some questions, and I'll be glad to answer some of those. Yes, sir.
So you have a tournament here. Tell us about that.
Okay.
Teams and-
Okay. So right at the end of March, right before we go to spring break in Charleston, typically we have the main part of the tournaments Thursday through a Saturday. I think it's March 30th through April 1st this year. And what we do is everybody typically likes to play about 4 games. So we'll usually play 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, 1 Saturday. And we have the facilities. We have great competition. I think once you get things established, it kind of just takes care of itself. We got we call it the Johnny Whited Memorial. Former coach Johnny Whited went on to coach at University of Tennessee and East Tennessee State. So we've got it established. We got 2 teams from Ohio. We got about 4 or 5 teams from Knoxville. A lot of our local teams, some of the best teams from Roanoke, Abington. The Greenvilles, the Sevier counties, all those teams come and play. We got 18 teams in it. And we'll use other venues just so we have enough places to play. But obviously, I like to highlight Dobyns Bennett's stadium, J. Fred, and then Hunter Wright as well. So we'll play at all those places, and then we'll play at some other Westridge and Science Hill and some of those places as well. Yes, sir.
Do you have a magic number pitch count for your teenage starting pitchers?
Okay, Pat started, he asked that a couple years ago as well. So in 2017, which was mentioned a few minutes ago as our last time making it to the state, we finished 3rd. That's the first year they had a pitch count. Used to, it was based on days. You could throw so many pitches back-to-back days, and then you had to rest this many days. Now, if you throw, this is a lot for a high school kid, if you throw up to 120 pitches, you're sitting 4 days before you can throw to that 5th day. And then there's certain numbers, it staggers down. 105, 3 days. 75, 2 days. 50 or 55. And then if you throw over 25 pitches, you cannot throw the next day. So relief guys, it's kind of challenging on those conference days. So we got guys that come in and throw maybe like the 6th, 7th inning. If we want to have them available the next day, it's strategy whether you're going to use those guys for over 25 or not. Sometimes, I remember 2 years ago, Tennessee High, really good. We opened up with them up there. Very good team, state tournament caliber team. They've had a lot of good players the last few years. But I remember my pitching coach, Coach Burton, sits down here with another younger coach, and then us older coaches sit down here while we're on defense. And, fussing at why we threw a fastball instead of a breaking ball where they can't hear us. No, just kidding. But I went down at Tennessee High. We jumped all over them. I think we were up 10 to, it's a small park, so there's a lot of runs scored there. It was like 10 to 5. And Coach Burt and I walked down that way after the 6th inning, and our relief guy's really good. He did 24 pitches, and before I even stepped over, he goes, "Nope, we ain't taking him out." Because just such a risk sometimes. We wanted that win, and we took a shot, on getting that win and not having him the next day. But sometimes, we're going to stick with it, and they'll be available again 3 or 4 days later. So, yes, sir.
What is the criteria for the various conferences, 1A, 2A? Is it school size? Or?
Yes, sir. So each October, our athletic and administration has to turn in the number of students by this date to the state of Tennessee, to TSSAA, and every 2 years it can change. So it's set for 2000. For the next 2 years after this spring, starting next fall, we know we're dropping to 4 teams. David Crockett fell below the line, so they're going to 3A in basketball, softball, and baseball. Those go together. Football's separate because there's 6 divisions. Volleyball, track, wrestling, and some of those are a little bit different too. Yes.
So talk to me about, you've got a feeder program now, the Tribe feeder program. How long has that been going on, and how young, and do you see a positive impact?
Well, so I meet with Michael once or twice a year, Borders here, and he's been great for supporting our Tribe sports. So we're probably in about year 9 or 10, and it's not perfect. We're working through some things, but it does give a lot of kids an opportunity to play on a team here in Kingsport, as opposed to having to go find somewhere else outside the vicinity. We're working on, places to practice and things like that, which is, been a challenge sometimes just because we have our Parks and Rec that uses their fields a lot, but we're working through some things, and we definitely think going forward that we're going to benefit from it. And definitely I've seen, a lot of good things come out of it, but like I said, I think there's still some things to work through. Nothing's perfect yet. And we're working on other sports as well. So, yes, sir.
The Axemen, do you see any of your recent former players or anybody that's on your team now that might get on the Axemen?
I had a parent call me the other day. So, actually, Coach Ritz, former head coach at Dobyns Bennett, his grandson played for me last year and graduated. He's at Roane State Community College, and Brian, his dad, who I played with, graduated with me, obviously wants me to contact them. But, a lot of y'all probably know, of course, Frank's not here, but he helps lead that direction. But the colleges kind of have to contact and contact the right people to make sure that they have an opportunity to do that too, because they kind of have to have a recommendation from their current coach. But yeah, I can see some of our guys, when it got up and started a few years ago, they grabbed a couple of our players that were still playing college baseball that were just working for the summer. And, some guys get moved and decide to go home a little bit earlier, and they play a couple weeks. Some of them play the whole season. I think it's great. I think they're doing it the right way. It's not halfway being done. In fact, our family goes down there a lot, and it's a great event. Yes.
What kind of impact do you see from NIL at the high school level?
You just had to ask. So if you're not familiar, a couple of years ago, college started NIL deals where they can make money. Different companies, they can help, advertise, whatever it may be. Well, now it's leaked into high school. And personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't mind kids getting incentives or whatever, but to me in college, if you were on scholarship and got all these different meals and apparel and everything else, I think it would be a privilege to get to. I would have gone to play at University of Tennessee for nothing, but it's being discussed some. Coach Poore and I, we teach wellness together. Obviously, some things we're going to have to think through. It's kind of hard enough right now with us teaching a full load schedule and then getting practice plans together and still getting home to see your family to have to worry about another thing like this. But it may be part of something we have to work on and work through. But I'm sure there'll be some. I have seen maybe 2 or 3 kids from Knoxville this way put something on social media about small NIL deals. I know I saw something from one of our basketball players with the nutrition drink place up here in Green Acres. Somebody help me out. I can't think of the place. Kingsport Nutrition. And I think what it is they advertise for the company, and then maybe if people come in and say this person told me to come here and try it out, then they may get a small percentage or something like that. So I don't know exactly where we stand, but obviously it's something this summer we probably need to start thinking through a little bit.
Tell us how you feel about this movement underway with replacing umpires with machines to call balls and strikes.
Well, they're using that some in the minor leagues already. I know analytics is kind of taking over a lot of sports too, but I think sometimes common sense, and I think having a person there, I'm a bigger fan of. I know that the computer system probably would not miss the call, but we've been playing this game for a long time, and I think it's a part of it. But I would rather stick with what we have. But everything changes a little bit here and there as we go.
You talk about your best pitchers and best position players.
Okay, we got so last year we lost what would be called our best pitcher, Jake Timms. He's at Belmont in Nashville. Great student, great baseball player, played shortstop, pitched for 4 years, which you don't see often. I'll mention this too. Tanner Kilgore that signed with Carson Newman is a 3-year starter at catcher, which you don't see very often. I think in my 23, 24 years as an assistant and head coach, this is the second time I've seen a catcher play 3 years as a starter, everyday starter. You're going to have guys that work in to give those breaks. But anyway, I think our depth on the mound will be better. We had 3 guys at the end of the year we kind of used as our top 3 pitchers. 2 of those guys are back. One's a senior, one's a junior. They've had a little bit of health issues with their arm, and it's something that we try to be careful with. Our pitching coach, as I mentioned a minute ago, Bo Burton, he does a great job with talking to doctors and therapists around here that kind of connect with Dobyns Bennett about what we should do, what we should not do. And we want them to take breaks, but sometimes these colleges and different, showcases and things that these kids can go to that they see on social media and that their friends are doing, they want to do it too. And sometimes they throw too much. So we've had a couple kids with a little bit of arm injuries, but they are looking outstanding right now and will be back 100%. And we've got some really good young players too that I'm excited about that are talented. I think our pitching depth will be good. We got 4 position returners as starters, a couple other guys that worked in different parts of the year. So, like I said, there's a lot of competition. We may play some really young guys at some key positions because they've worked at it, they're talented, And we'll just see here in the next month where we're at after we have our scrimmages and inter-squads. We start February 13th officially practicing, and our first game is March 14th.
Are you asking Brady Stump to come back to baseball?
Brady knows how I feel. So he just decided that he wanted to focus on basketball last year. We met with him, and he didn't come back, but I've obviously been in his ear a little bit. He's a heck of an athlete, yeah. So any type of competitor like that wants to be out there, I definitely have. Yes, sir.
What are the top items on your wish list for facilities for equipment? Do you have everything you need?
We're blessed with I think our field turf and our indoor facility is very nice. I think eventually, some of these guys I'm sure have heard it, but we're probably going to have to upgrade our seating area and bathrooms and things like that. But as far as, are you talking about on campus basically for Dobyns Bennett High School? So those things are things that, that are kind of out there being discussed a little bit. We have a fairly nice clubhouse in center field. If you look out in center field or behind the visiting bleachers, we share with Lee McDavid, our maintenance guy, but we're a little bit undersized. I have 40 kids in my program, and we only have a spot for about 20, 25 kids, and that's pretty crowded. So we move our freshmen underneath the stadium, which is very, very old and outdated. So we were looking at, possibly before COVID at maybe trying to look at raising some money for a clubhouse down closer to the field between, if you know where the hill is behind the first base dugout, in that area. We discussed quite a bit, and it just kind of lost traction during COVID. And then, but those are things we talked about just so we can have our locker rooms right there, bathrooms, and not have to go out to center field. We don't really have a great place for bathrooms for our players and coaches, because if you're on first base side, which we like, you're going up where the parents are, or you're going to either have to go underneath the stadium or out to the locker room. So eventually, like I said, I don't push anything, or I'm not complaining, but those are things I'd like to see in the future for sure.